half beat when you are jumping from an aeroplane. So, as I say, later in the show we'll be talking about why the Director of Public Prosecutions, Keir Starmer, has gone. Now it's Alison Saunders, has come forward to talk about a series of measures to address a decline in the conviction rate in rape cases. As I said, 30% increase in the number of people coming forward, but we've seen fewer and fewer convictions. So what is going wrong? What is happening? And how will these changes work? She says she wants to get rid of some of the myths and indeed the stereotypes. So Sally is from here in London and sadly has an understanding of this particular subject. Sally, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Thanks so much for talking to us. Now, it wasn't actually you, it was your daughter, wasn't it?
Yes, my daughter was 15 at the time. She was raped back in 2005.
Can you just give us some of the details of what happened to your daughter, please?
Well, to be quite brief, she met a man on the street who asked if he could take her out. They exchanged numbers. The following day he rang her to arrange a meet. She went to, he rang her, she arranged a meet with him. He picked her up and took her back to his house and raped her. She didn't tell me until like 6 weeks later, and we reported it. As soon as she told me, I'd reported it to the police, and we provided them with his name, address, mobile phone number, and car registration number, and it took them 3 months and the rape of another girl before they arrested him, and he lived in our local area. He turned out to be 29. He told he was only 19 and my daughter was only 15 at the time.
Was he convicted for raping your daughter?
No. Basically, when my daughter reported to the police what had happened to her, she handed her mobile phone over as evidence because he'd rung her. His story was that he only met her on the day he raped her. So the evidence was sort of in the mobile phone. They also took his mobile phone to obviously prove what my daughter had said, because how would he have had her number? How could he have possibly have arranged to meet her if he'd only met her on the day? She also walked into a store directly after she'd been raped, and a member of staff asked her if she was all right, could see she was in a distressed state. They didn't bother to get any witnesses there, but it did actually go to court. He got charged, and by the time we got to court, it was clear that the police had lost the evidence. But not just the police losing the evidence, the Crown Prosecution Service. Obviously, if you're preparing a case to go to court, you make sure the police have gathered the evidence, which is factual evidence, because, you know, with rape, a lot of it is her word against his word. My daughter had factual evidence there, which was obviously the witnesses in the place where she'd walked into, who had seen her in a distressed state. Obviously, you speak to witnesses who can corroborate, you know, the person's story and also the phone evidence.
Let me stop you, Sally, because I've got lots and lots of questions for you. Can you just stay with us for a few minutes? Do you mind?
No.
I just need to find out tell everybody what's happening on London's roads. And we'll finish our conversation with Sally, and then we'll talk to Tom Wainwright, criminal barrister at Garden Chambers, who will tell us from a legal perspective what actually is being changed, and from an emotional, I suppose, and kind of practical point of view, Lisa Longstaff, who campaigns for an organisation called Women Against Rape. Lots of questions for Sally. I'd love for you to get involved with this too, because you see so many things. It's one of those crimes which is going up and up and up. And in London, and we talk about, you know, fewer crimes are committed here in London. When you look at those crime stats, more women are coming forward, more women are reporting it, but fewer people are being convicted of it. Why is that? If you have a view, get involved. 020 722 42000. Back with Sally after we find out from Pippa what's happening on the roads.
Thanks, Eddie. Minor delays on the Circle, Metropolitan and Hammersmith and City following some earlier emergency engineering work at Baker Street. We've got the A41 Hendon Way down to one lane northbound at Cricklewood Lane following an accident recovery work taking place there. Problems in Tottenham for the A10. The high road closed between Forster Road and Bruce Grove following a collision. And One Direction at Wembley Stadium tonight, so the North Circular is already very busy towards Great Central Way, westbound from Staples Corner, eastbound found from the Hanger Lane Geratorial Centre.
And he put his arms towards my neck. And he said, Chris, what are you doing? I said, I'm giving you a hug. He said, I was just straightening your collar.
On BBC London 94.9.
Chris and Harriet here on our radio station from 9 until 12 each and every Sunday. Good evening to you. My name's Eddie Nestor. I'm here Monday to Friday, 5 to 7, London News and London Talking Points, and often we have a laugh. This is not a laughing matter. We are talking about the latest crime figures here in London. 30% increase in reported rapes, but fewer people convicted. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Alison Saunders, is announcing a series of measures to address the decline in conviction rates. And I'm talking to people about the experience, and I've got to tell you, I've talked a lot in the last, I suppose, 6 months or so about this. And it's amazing how many people say, you know, you go out for a drink with somebody and then things just happen, and sometimes no means yes and yes means no. And you think, well, hold on a minute, what about consent? What is going on? What is the... And if that's the misunderstanding when people are having a drink, then what happens when it gets to court and you go through the police, you got to go through the Crown Prosecution Service, then you got to go to trial, and one tells... I'm hearing stories of, you know, when the jurors look at you, they make decisions about you as a woman, how tall you are, what you're wearing, what you wore on the night, how much you'd had to drink. How much has that got to do with somebody who's been the victim of a sexual attack? And is that getting in the way of convictions? In the middle of a conversation with Sally, whose daughter, I'm sorry to say, was raped back in 2005. Sally, thank you for being so patient.
Okay.
Just bringing everybody back up to speed. It happened, as I say, in 2005. She met a young man, swapped numbers, went to meet him, and he attacked her.
Yes, that's correct.
She didn't tell you until 6 weeks after. Do you understand how that in and of itself might pose a problem for police trying to gather evidence?
Well, in some cases, yeah, but... you know, lots of cases there isn't. The evidence was there in my daughter's case. There was phone evidence. The police left it 3 months before they arrested him.
I'm sorry, Sally. How does phone evidence prove that somebody raped your daughter?
Okay, hang on a minute. It wasn't just phone evidence. The phone... When the guy said he'd never met my daughter before the day he'd raped her. Now, if he's rung her the day before... How's he ringing her unless he's telepathic? He doesn't know. He's got her number, obviously, so that's how he's ringing her to arrange the meet. Forensic evidence. His house wasn't forensic. They took no forensics at all from his house. Like I said, they didn't go into the store where she walked into directly, where a member of staff had asked her if she was okay, who could see she was in a distressed state. Mm-hmm. All these, it doesn't prove 100% what he's done, but it corroborates with my daughter's story. His story was that he'd never met my daughter before. Now, if it was a majority verdict, so even without that evidence, it still wasn't a unanimous verdict that found him not guilty.
Now,
and the judge actually commented in court and said it was an absolute disgrace that the police had lost this phone evidence. And
I'll let you finish.
Sorry, it was also later stated in the High Court, because I actually went on to sue the Metropolitan Police for their failures in my daughter's case. It was stated in the High Court by a top judge that had the phone evidence had been there, the result may have been very different. So...
Now, you'll know, and I know, that the Met Police, were they here listening to this, will tell you that they have a Operation Sapphire, which now coordinates information given by one borough to another. You have dedicated people who are trained in helping people in your daughter's situation.
Well, it was a Sapphire unit that dealt with my daughter's case, so that's another lot of rubbish. What they do is they just keep changing it round and saying, oh, we're opening this unit now and it will be much better now. But since that happened to my daughter, I actually now do voluntary work with Women Against Rape, because I was so appalled at the system. And, you know, I see cases still that are similar to my daughter's that are walking through the door, and, you know, they just keep swapping it round and saying what we're going to do. You know, a little while ago, Alison Saunders and Keir Starmer were blaming juries. So, you know, they've got to stop passing the buck and blaming this, that and the other, and start addressing the real problems, you know.
Which are
not gathering evidence properly. You know, the CPS and the Crown Prosecution Service and the police not working together. Like I say, I went to a meeting with Keir Starmer. It took me 5 years to get Keir Starmer to apologise to my daughter and myself for the shortcomings in her case, because I was saying to the Crown Prosecution Service, look, you can't just blame the police here. My daughter went to court with what she thought you had evidence. Now, if you're preparing a case to go to court, you obviously, if you're a lawyer and you're working on a case, surely in my eyes, and I'm not trained, but common sense tells me that you get all the evidence that you think you're going to, you are going to convince a jury with, and you're going to win the case with, and you go back to the police and say, right, have you got this, this and this evidence? I want the witness in the store she walked into, I want the phone evidence, I want this, I want that. Then the police go off, they gather that evidence, they come back, because you're working as a team. And when I went to the meeting with, when Keir Starmer actually invited myself and my daughter in to apologise for the shortcomings in her case, which they had been denying for 5 years, and they were batting me back to and fro. I was writing letters to him and he was batting me back, until I actually pointed out the mistakes they made with a High Court judgment, and quoted in his own words back to himself, Keir Starmer, that he actually called me in, and Alison Saunders was present there as well, and they were saying that is, and I was saying, why is this not happening? He actually said, yes, that should be happening. Our lawyers should be, communicating better with the police.
It seems to me like, and at the time, of course, we all know that Alison Saunders was the London Director of Public Prosecutions, and it seems that she has taken what happened to your daughter and run with it. I'm going to be talking to Lisa Longstaff from Women Against Rape in a little while. 2 quick questions for you. Are you convinced that here and now, today, nigh on a decade after your daughter's terrible, experience, that things are different?
No. Like I said, I think it's the blame game. I think until they address the real problems, which, like I said, and also I think, because to be honest with you, a lot of them in the Crown Prosecution Service are untouchable. When they make a mistake, or when the police make a mistake, they get a slap on the wrist. We're talking about people's lives here. It destroyed my daughter and my family for a long time, and we had to have a lot of support, my daughter and my family, from Women Against Rape and such, different places. But what I'm saying to you is, these people need to understand that by them not doing their job properly, they are destroying people's lives. OK,
well, we're going to talk about what they are doing. Just finally and quickly, if you can, for me, Sally, how is your daughter?
My daughter's okay, but like I said, it took 8-9 years, and obviously she still has problems now. But, we're getting there. But, they need to make big changes, and they need to address, the real problem.
Well, once these changes come into play, if you don't mind, I'll talk to you again. I appreciate you talking to us very, very much indeed. As Sally talking about what happened to her daughter and what they went through. Now, of course, I do truly understand how personal this is. And if it has happened to you, if you have had an experience, be it good or bad, then let's talk about it today, because I really would like to understand what's going on. Sally, thank you so much.